Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue with our theme creation here. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please, this is a good time to subscribe and help the channel grow. It's a simple gesture. You only need to click a button, but it means the world to me. So help a brother out and click that subscribe button. All right. So to continue with our theme modification, what we want to do here is to allow our theme user to change the images on the slider. So we have 3 images here, of course. We can add more. And we want them to be able to change the text here as well as the images. And also to be able to select whether to even display the slider or not. Okay, so before we do that though, there's a thing here where the widgets are showing bullets here, even on the search bar here, which is might not be what you want. So if you inspect this element, you find that it's got a class of this list item here has widget. So we can just change the way list items are displayed to begin with. So let's go to our theme folder here. And we're going to go to, where is this? The CSS file right here. So in here, I'm just going to say .widget and change my list style to none. This should solve the problem. So let's come back here and refresh our page and see if anything changes. Well, of course, nothing changes because WordPress is a master of caching. So we must go to our functions.php just to make sure that the CSS, we add some different numbers here just to remove the cache. So I'm just going to put a 2 after the question mark there, just so the file is refreshed. And as you can see now, the bullets here are gone. You can check for the styles here as well if you want. Let's inspect this one and let's see here. There's a list item here and you see it as a class of menu. So as a result, you can target that as well if you want, but I just wanted to remove this one from the search bar here, and that should be good. Okay, so to continue, let's see what options are available to change things here. Now I'm going to go to Google, of course, and I want to go to developer.wordpress.org. Now the reason I want to go here is to show you how to figure things out on your own in case you have a problem with dealing with Customizer. Now what used to happen a while back with WordPress, if we go back to our admin here, when you install a new theme, you would see a new menu item here that says theme options. And then once you click that, you see some options for your theme. But this is now being discouraged because in favor of the customizer. So if I click on customize here or here as well, then I'm going to go to the customize section of our website here. And as you can see, there's quite a bit I can change here. For example, add menus, check widgets, and homepage settings, or even add some additional CSS. For example, if I go to site identity, I can change this information to suit what I have here. Click back to go back here. Yeah, or close that to close the customizer. Or here you can hide the controls in order to see the website in full view. Click back, and then here you get some responsive views as well, just to see how well your website is doing on different screen sizes. So the customizer is quite good. Now we want to add a section of our own here that adds customization to our slider. So how exactly do we do that? So even though WordPress now favors the customizer, there are still things you need to use for options the way theme options used to be, there's still things that you need to add here. For example, if you want to know your site statistics and you add a plugin that shows you site statistics, you can't do that in the customizer. They would have to be on a page here somewhere. And so that way you can see your statistics on the admin section. But for now, we're talking about the customizer, so let's go that direction. So if I go to the developer reference, I want to look at theme development here. So let's go to the theme, develop theme section. We'll use the reference as well, but for now, let's go here. So if I click on theme options, the customizer API, this is what I get. Let's go to the next page because this is just an introduction. We don't need anything here. So what I want you to see is this section right here. So in the customizer, there are panels. You can create a panel of settings. So the way this is one panel here. Now you rarely are going to need to create panels at all. So we'll concentrate on sections and controls instead. So the control is the item you use to add your, let's say for example, you want to add some text like we are going to do. We want to change this text. The ideal control for this text is a text input. There are sometimes you may need a slider control. You may need an image or a file uploader. All those are different types of controls. So, and then that control is going to adjust a setting, and then that setting is going to be updated onto the live view here. So let's see how we can do that in practical terms. So here it shows us that in order for things to work out, we need to add an action on this hook, which is customize register. So let's copy this right here. I'm going to copy that. And of course, where we're adding this is in the functions.php. So I'm just going to go towards the end. You can really add this anywhere, but let me just add it before these includes, because reasons. So I'm going to add it here. And as you can see, this is an add action on this hook, and then it runs this function, which is right there. Now, like I mentioned before, I don't want to be bothered with writing function names. This is why I just simply cut out the function and paste it directly here. That way I don't need to give it a name. Yes, it's an anonymous function and it does exactly the same thing. So no need to worry about function names. Okay, so here we do stuff with the WP customize. So as you can see on the customize register, you are given this WP customize class to work with. Now, if you use a different hook here, you're not going to have access to this. So this is why this hook is important, because once it's given, it also supplies this variable right there, which is essential. So let's remove that and let's see what we can do here. Now, like I said, let's go up here. Controls reside inside sections. So you do need a section first before you can add a control. Now, if you look here, there are already some existing sections like menus, widgets, and all that, but we want to create an extra one of our own. You could use this. If you read up on that, it will tell you what those are called, but let's create our own. So to create a section, these are the functions you will use with the customizer. If you click to see here, there's add control, add setting, add section, and add panel. So let's start with add a section. So we'll add a section, and this is add setting. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for add, where are we here? I'm looking for add section. Where is it? Let's keep going down until we find, ooh, there we go, sections, yay. So I'm going to copy all of this here without minding what it is about. And then let's go through these settings together. So first of all, like I said, this is a localizer function. So in case you have translations for different languages, this is what this function will do. It will translate depending on the language. So we can just ignore it for now. Whenever you see this, just know this is display text. So we want to create a title for our section. So I'm going to call this section, since we are talking about sliders, let's say slider image settings, right? Let's try that. Slider image settings. Okay, cool. Slider image settings and description. You can add a description here if you want. Let's see here how the others are doing. So here there's active theme. If you click here, I don't know where the, anyway, let's add the description, then we can see where it will show up, right? So let's say edit slider image settings. Panel not typically needed, so we don't need panel because we're not going to create a panel. The priority here is 160. Now this determines where we're going to add our item here. So we can add it at the end, at the beginning. Now if you're confused about which priority is which, it shows you right here that the site title in tagline has a priority of 20. So if we are going to put 160, it's going to be somewhere here before the additional CSS, which I think is okay for me. So it's going to be above the additional CSS with that 160, but we can always change that number to suit the section that we want, depending here. Yeah, so let's leave it at 160. Capabilities, we need to know that only somebody who has access to edit theme options should be able to change these settings, which is good because that means you are the admin. Theme support's rarely needed, so let's check it out. So this is all we need to add a section, and just like that we have a section. Very nice. Now we will not see anything here. If I refresh, we will not see a section here at all, because we need to add content to it to be able to, oh, wait a second, we are seeing a section here. Wow, I didn't know it would actually show. So there is our description. So edit slider image settings. Usually I add everything at one go and I don't do this, so I'm actually surprised that it showed before I added anything more. Interesting. But I've noticed that the custom CSS has disappeared, so maybe there was an error or something. But anyway, now we have a new section here and it has added its own text. I think it is mixed with the custom CSS, but why did it do that? Let's see here. Oh, there we go. This is the reason why. So we've added a section and we've called it custom CSS. That's why it has mixed with the custom CSS. So we need to give it a unique name of its own. So now at least you know that's what the other section is called, is custom CSS. So let's give it our own. So we're going to say theme slider settings, like this. Theme slider settings. Or you can add your theme name here and say razor sharp slider settings. Cool. So that's our section right there. So let's see now if we get that conflicting view, and as you can see we don't. So that thing has disappeared as it was supposed to. So now it will only show up if we add some controls. So let's add a control of some kind. So I'm going to just add something to test so that we see how things work. So let's look for a, these are panels here. No. Let's go up here where we want to add a control. So these are core custom controls. No, I just want something simple. So the controls can be inputs of type checkbox, text area, radio, just the usual inputs for our HTML, right? So let me add a control. So I'm just going to copy the content of where this says control and this sample control here, and let's paste that content here. Okay, cool. Let's move everything over. What did I do? Okay, there we go. So now it's important to notice that you need a setting ID here to add a control. So this means we need to create a setting first before we can add a control. Otherwise this won't work because it won't find this ID. So if you later create your setting down here, things will not work because once it tries to find that setting, it won't exist. Keep in mind that scripts run from top to bottom all the time. So the reason we started with a section is because, surprise, surprise, we need to label our section in here. So that's why we started with our section. So let's just add that section name over here. Okay, required, core, or custom. Well, good. Priority, this priority is for within the section, but I don't want to bother with priority, so I'm just going to let it display things as they appear here. That would be much better. Let's look at the type of control we want. Here we just want to edit some, let's see, maybe some text. Let's just call it type of text. We have our section. What label do we give it? As usual, the localizer here. We're just going to say some text because this is just an example. And then we'll have a description here. So we'll leave that in, even though we don't need it, just to see where it will appear. And then you can add some attributes to your input. For example, you can add some classes. You can also add some styles, and you can add a placeholder. So let's put a placeholder. Let's just leave that in for now. Active callback. We will not be using this, so out of my way. Okay, so like I mentioned, we need a setting of some kind. So here, what we want to do is that setting ID. Let's go to where we are creating settings, add setting. Yay, there we go. So let's get this one and not this one. This is for typical plugin use. We are not talking about plugins yet. So let's get this one right here. Copy, yay. But wait a second. This one has a more comprehensive list of items. So let's copy that. So let's put it on top here, like I mentioned earlier, because we need its ID. So we add a setting and we call it setting ID. That's what we're going to use here as well. So this is just for you to see what's going on. This is not what we'll end up with. And now the type of setting we're adding is called theme mode. Now, sometimes you may want to use option. So what's the difference? There's information here on exactly that, right here. So the information says, if you set your type as option, it makes it a, the option is permanent, meaning even if you change your theme, that setting will remain. But if the theme, if you want a setting for your particular theme, then you use it, you use the theme mode instead. Now, if we look at our slider here, this slider is irrelevant or is useless in a different theme because it will not exist. So of course we are going to use a theme mode instead. Usually options are used for when you're dealing with a plugin, because a plugin will remain even though you change your theme. So we'll use theme mode instead. Capability, of course, edit theme options. Theme supports, rarely used, so let's check it out. This is the default value we'll have in there, so let's leave it at empty. Transport, refresh, this has to do with how things are rendered or refreshed once you change the setting. We may need a sanitize callback. Now these are functions that are created already by WordPress. I'm not sure if you can add your own custom one, but I think you can. You add a function here that will sanitize the data that you are supplying here to avoid adding potentially dangerous information here. So there are some built-in sanitizers So let's see how we can find those. Yes, in case you want to find them, go to the reference here and let's use a keyword called sanitize. We start with that. Oh, my internet is really bad. Anyway, I know the one I want to use, so let's wait for that one to do its thing. So it's sanitize text field, if I'm not mistaken, field, like that. Okay, so there are others to sanitize numbers, to sanitize a URL, to sanitize whatever you want. There's quite a bunch of them, which we'll see here on my absolutely slow internet. Anyway, we'll save that. Callback, we don't need that. Alter here. So now that we have a setting named that, and then we add it to the control, things should be looking up at this point. So let me save this and let's see what we get. So back to here, let's refresh the page and see if we get something. And there we go, we got something. So slider image settings, click, and there we go. So now at least I have something here to something to do here. So if I type something right now, this information will be saved because I have added a setting here. And so how do we read that information back if we need it? Well, there's a function provided, but let's try and save this data first. So I'm just going to say this is some saved text. Yes. To save this, we click publish. And of course, you're going to see nothing absolutely changes in the view here completely. Well, let's see how we can use that information we just saved. Now, if of course I refresh my page, I should find that text again if I click, and you see it there. So it has been saved in the database. It's that simple. So you add your section, which will be used by many settings, and then you add your setting, and then you add a control to so that the user can interact with that setting. But then how do we view that setting? So let's go to our home page now, and where is this home page? Right here. So this is where our slider is, but I want right above the slider to display that text from to display the text from the setting. So in order to get the setting, you just say get theme mode. Oh, wait. What is this code? This is called theme mode. Yes, indeed it is. Finally, we have something here. So if I type sanitize, as I was saying, underscore, you see there are all these that you can go through. Sanitize title, sanitize email, sanitize option, category, etc. So you have plenty to choose from. The one we got is sanitize text field, and you can read all about that one. Now what I want to look for is get theme mode, this one right here. So that's the one we want to use to get back the information that we've saved. So here, this one will go like this. So I have to put in the theme setting ID, which is this one. Here we just use a generic one. And then I can add a default value in case this setting does not exist yet in the database. Then you need to return an empty string. But you can add something, a default value of some kind if you want. So for now, this is all we want. So all I'm going to say is echo get theme mode. Simple as that. So if I go back now to my, let me refresh this page. And as you can see, this is some saved text. It's right there. Now if I go in here and just put a 2 at the end, you see that it changes there, right? This is some saved text from the database. Look at that. In real time, it updates. So in the same way, if I had some text here, I could simply get this text and add it to this list. Then once I finish typing here, it will update in real time. But this doesn't save to the database. You have to click publish in order for those changes to stick. Okay, but at least we get an idea of how this API actually works. So it's very easy to use, as you can see. So first of all, you create your section, and then you create a setting. That's just creating a setting name, pretty much. And then you create a control that is going to add some value to that setting. And that's it. So if you want to add more things, you just need to replicate this very system right here to the next stage. And it's always a good idea to label these things with comments so that you don't get confused the next time you come back. All right, for now we're going to end here to avoid giving too much information in one video. In the next video, let's actually see how we can use more than just text, but we can add images and also allow the user to crop those images to a very specific width and height that will fit here. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video.